I'm Brett Kaczynski, Director of Parks and Recreation for the City of Lansing, and I'd like to welcome you here to McGuire Park. We are at the end of the Lansing River Trail. Behind me is 10.2 miles of trail. It goes to the north all the way to Turner Dodge, and then also to Morris Park and all the way out to MSU. We are about to today go on to the new extension of the river trail, what we call the South Lansing Pathway extension, and we are going to be riding on several miles of fresh asphalt. And Chad Gamble here is going to tell us a little bit more about that south extension.
Well, thank you, Brett. This is very exciting. This is 5.8 miles of brand spanking new non-motorized river trail. This really links up the entire city, the south side of the city of Lansing, to the rest of the river trail network.
We are out here today. It's about 2 o'clock on a Monday morning, and the traffic that we have seen on a 56-degree day out here in November is just awesome. And so we have a lot of trail to cover for you today, so we're going to go ahead and get started and show you this new extension. Yeah, we have the Delhi extension right here because we are at the corner of Jolly and Aurelius, and behind us you see heading to the east is the Delhi extension, and that will take you from this corner of Jolly and Aurelius all the way down south of 96 all the way to Holt Road. So this is where we say you can go from Holt Road all the way to Turner Dodge on the north.
I think the other great thing about that project is that Delhi really worked hand in hand with us with regards to the trail. It's in some of our right-of-way back there. They work with us with regards to the layout. And so I think the importance of this, it truly is becoming that regional network that I think you and the Parks and Recreation Department have worked so hard to really see this to fruition.
And we call it the River Trail, and we'll be going on some portions that obviously do not follow the river, but the Delhi portion also does follow the Sycamore Creek, and that runs all the way from in Mason and south and dumps into the Red Cedar right near Potter Park Zoo. So you get a lot of the natural areas with the water, and I think that all enhances the experience, being able to see those waterways that we're along.
What do you say we go explore the new Lansing, South Lansing
I think it's
extension?
time to do it.
Let's do it.
So the width of this pathway that you have here is 10 foot wide?
10 feet wide. This is pretty much a standard dimension almost all the way through the pathway. There are certain sections that we had to narrow it, crossing the railroads and other smaller sections where we had to get through trees and other obstacles. But that's the one really cool thing about this trail is its width. It accounts for a lot of the different uses that we were talking about before. We're riding side by side here and have plenty of space to spare for other oncoming cyclists or walkers or joggers or runners.
Now, as far as flooding, I know on the river trail portion to the north and through Hawk Island or by Potter Park Zoo, we'll run into seasonal flooding along there. Do we anticipate any flooding or closures in this area?
We don't anticipate any closures. This does not go by any large bodies of water. We do have a couple of low-lying areas that in the springtime they may flood just a tad bit, but that would only be if we get a real big downpour. So that's another really nice thing is the design of the trail. We tried to use the topography of the land to wind people throughout the south side of Lansing. We do want to take a moment to thank the kind of proprietor of the easement, which is Consumers Energy. They have an easement throughout the entire south side of the city of Lansing that this trail is for the most part located on. And they've been very good partners to allow us to do that. And it's a great relationship and great really sponsorship of this trail.
You know, that's one of the things when we were on the river trail portion and the older portion, finding those easements all at once or gathering them up over years, it takes time. And to be able to get 6 miles of easement, linear easement, if you will, all at once, is awesome.
It really saved us a tremendous amount of time, and as you said, working with what could have been hundreds of property owners, and the ability to work with a singular property owner really was unbelievably lucky for us to be able to have this here in the city. I think when I was walking this during construction, Brett, it was really cool to kind of transition to, from more the urbanized area where you kind of feel like you're in the city to kind of where we're going now, where we could be riding out in the middle of the country.
Yeah. When you look at the trail and you go through the downtown area by the city market and in the area around Michigan Avenue, it is the urban trail. And then you go through Scott Woods and Hawk Island, and you see that great, I guess, up north feel, I guess, going through some of the hardwoods, and then, now we're going through what looks like native prairie.
Yeah, it's really the setting of the river trail, how it links up to a lot of the different neighborhoods and community centers that I think we'll see on our journey is what the really cool part about this trail is that you go into so many different environments, so many different kind of landscapes that, a lot of people, even from what I've heard, just doesn't even look like Lansing.
Yeah. Well, it's like when we go on the actual river in a canoe or kayak, you see Lansing from a different angle. And I think we're doing that here today. You're definitely seeing seeing Lansing from a little bit different view.
I remember when we did that, we took a river taxi trip on the Grand River, and how interesting that was. And I think you're exactly right that how this trail really opens up, a new page for Lansing, just a different way to see Lansing and really, get some exercise, explore the city, explore your neighborhood, and really have an enjoyable time. And I think one of the things that we've worked with you in the Parks and Rec department is to do those types of things that, kind of link up neighborhoods that get that feeling of the new Lansing that we want to try and build, is building these types of projects that are kind of have that sense of place feeling.
And the river trail system is great because unlike a lot of places, there's no trailhead where you all park, everybody parks their cars, gets out, gets their bikes, or starts walking. You can access the trail from numerous locations. And I mean, that helps in a way that everybody's able to access it that way. It kind of hurts in a way because we want to make sure that wherever you get on, you know the rules or the signage and are dealing with all of that stuff. But the ability to access the trail at well over 100 points, throughout the system is awesome.
When you mentioned some of the rules about the trail, what would be some of your, maybe top 5 or so points that, you would want to communicate to people about kind of, river trail etiquette?
Well, I think number one is when you talk about the northern portion, mainly going from McGuire Park North and even on the east-west routes from Morris Park to MSU, you got a lot of turns. You don't have the sight lines where you can see around curves. And so for bikers especially, they want to maintain their speed on the river trail. And to be able to navigate that slowly, it must be a recreational route. And if you're getting your bike up over 15 miles per hour on there, that can become a dangerous situation. And the South Lansing extension and South Lansing pathway here, this is where you can open up a little bit more. There's a lot more visual sight lines here than there is on the northern part.
Yeah, I think if you look behind us now, that is you know, a nice straight stretch where you can open up the gears and let her fly.
Yeah. And the other thing is, what I'm finding out here as we're going today, it's not this flat, no hill, no elevation point. There's definitely, as we take this uphill climb right here, there's definitely some elevation changes with this. See, now right now I'm trying to think where we're at. We're coming up on Penn, right?
I believe we are.
Yeah, Pennsylvania.
I'm Officer Merritt with the Lansing Police Department. Today I'm here to talk to you about safety on the river trail. One of the most important things that citizens need to know is the river trail is patrolled daily. Daily not only with the police department patrolling on bicycles, as you see that I have here, but also the police department has a volunteer program where they patrol in a golf cart. Your time on the river trail is from morning until dusk. And also what's very important that you realize too is while you're traveling on a bicycle is that you don't have your headphones in. Make sure they're off so people can hear you coming, as well as you have audio so you're aware of your surroundings. Number 2, stay in your lane while you're riding. 3, make sure that you obey all bicycle laws, such as when you're on the road, they also apply on the river trail. You have to stop when the stop sign is there. And also, make sure that you're giving verbal signals when you're riding. River trail hours are the same as all city parks, from sunrise to sunset. So make sure that you're not out after sunset, and make sure you have a good ride on the river trail and know that you're safe with the Lansing Police Department.
This is coming up on our new signal right here, which is a great safe way for people to cross. It's a PED activated signal that will really allow people to cross very safely. We mentioned before that this pathway traverses basically the entire south side of the city of Lansing. We have several major streets that this pathway crosses. One of those streets is behind me is Pennsylvania Avenue, and you see the brand spanking new signal. It's not yet activated, but what the signal does is it allows all of the users of the pathway to cross this very busy street very safely. So this will be a pedestrian activated signal. You'll come up, there'll be a push button activation. You'll push that button, and then within a couple of seconds it will cause the traffic to stop, and then you'll be able to cross very safely. This signal is just like the one coming up on Cedar. We also have other pedestrian activated crossing alerts along the pathway that we'll look forward to showing you here in a few miles.
So we just passed, we are heading west from Pennsylvania and now heading towards Cedar Street along here. And we were just talking about the safe crossings that we have, but now we're on a pretty good downhill. You and I aren't even pedaling. So we climbed up the Pennsylvania and now we're heading down towards Cedar Street.
Well, I think the panorama, which we kind of just saw, really provides a great shot of where we're headed, the vastness of the trail, how far you can see. It's really kind of a neat area right back in this power line area.
And I think when you're looking at the video and you look back behind us, you see what we're talking about with those sight lines and how you're able to see people coming, and to, you know, especially for bikers who want to open up their bikes. I see we're coming up on K North Park here, and this is an opportunity if you have kids that you're bringing along, if you want to take a stop and go over to the playground, K North, which is right between, nestled between Pennsylvania and Cedar along the trail here. And now we have that playground that's available there. So another great place for people to stop and take a little break during the ride.
I get asked a lot about the river trail system, and I refer to it really as the central nervous system of the Parks and Recreation Department because it links up so many different parks in the system, as well as community centers, the downtown. I think we just passed, K North Park, and that's really a great example of what the river trail system does.
Yeah, it's something we do have a lot of parks along the river. That was by design, and then the river trail obviously running along that. And one of the things that we did was like up here at Davis Park, as we get up there, run the trail through that. And it is, when we talk about placemaking, we wanted to connect the trail to our parks. And we did that at Kriego as well. And I think we're going to be doing that at Red Cedar coming out.
Well, I think another thing that we're connecting with the South Lansing River Trail is an area that we're coming up to right now, which is commerce. You don't think of the river trail system as, you do think of it as recreation, but a lot of the times when people don't have access to a vehicle, perhaps they've made that choice, now we're really within a corridor where you've got restaurants,
Yep.
You've got small shops.
You got Kmart right here, you have several so along here, yeah.
And it's really, that which links the entire south side to these places of business, which really speaks to, the economic development tool that the trail serves.
It is, and I think you're going to see with those folks that are along here, parks enhance property values. That's been proven. And this trail will do the same thing. We've heard several people that this is the highlight for them of being in and around this, is to be able to connect to the trail and to connect to those places. And it does build that community. So this trail extension goes over some major roads or crosses them. And we just did Pennsylvania and then Cedar, and we'll be getting to MLK. And we did it because the lights aren't fully installed yet. That was a difficult crossing here in the middle of the day.
Well, this road takes upwards of over 30,000 vehicles per day. And so just as we did in taking our lives into our own hands, you can imagine how difficult this crossing would be with all the traffic behind us. That's why, we're very pleased that the grant that we were able to get from the Michigan Department of Transportation, they helped pay for some of the signals that you see behind us, making this just a matter of a push of a button, waiting for a number of seconds and then crossing safely.
I have a family of 5. Chad, I know you are at, I believe, 9?
Oh, yes, our family's 9.
You are at 9. And getting that entire family across there, whether it's 5 or 9, would be impossible without that system.
Well, impossible, and perhaps the bringing on of possibly heart palpitations, but that does provide a lot of the safety features which we wanted to design in here. We want this trail to link up to neighborhoods, to do all the things that we talked about, and it's important that we do that in a very safe way for people not only to trust that it's safe, but actually to see it in the background in the form of the signal, as well as other rapid flashing beacons that we have in other areas that perhaps don't have the traffic that we have now, but do have another way of alerting traffic that, hey, there is something different coming up ahead and to please pay attention.
It's one of the things on the northern portion and even the east-west portion that we've been fortunate enough to get around. If you're coming from Turner Dodge, the first place that you could pass vehicles or come in contact with vehicles is right there at the Potter Park Zoo pay station for car parking. The next one after that, which we had a light, which is the first one that we ever had, was at Mount Hope. So we've been fortunate on the other sections of the river trail not to have to cross major roads. And I think this is a good idea, again, where we can get 6 miles of roadway and where we can have those opportunities where we're at the major streets like this to be able to cross safely. So Chad, what are the costs for this? I've heard many people say, well, why wasn't this put into roads?
Well, as a road agency, we do have to be concerned about making sure the motorized traffic gets to and from, and we've been very challenged over the years in getting enough money to do that. But also, we have a responsibility to make sure that those people that are walking or biking or taking different modes of non-motorized transportation to safely get through the city, to traverse the city, to get to their respective jobs. And this trail has been really in the works for literally decades. It's been in the long-range plan for many, many years. And the city transportation staff, led by Andy Kilpatrick, Mitch Whistler, packaged 3 different grants up to the Michigan Department of Transportation and was able to get a construction grant funding 80% of the construction cost of this trail. Just over $2 million is the cost of this trail, and really is an unbelievable get for the city as far as applying for the grant and getting it. And MDOT was really supportive of our efforts, really assisted us, so we're very blessed to have some great partners in the form of the Michigan Department of Transportation, and really recognizing the importance of this trail and going all the way throughout the city.
I think when you think of over 16 miles of trail in an urban environment like we have is really an awesome thing. And when we're able to pay for 80% of it through grants, I think it's very fiscally responsible and also gets us the benefits that we know Lansing residents and area people want with their trail systems.
Well, you know, we are keepers of, you know, the taxpayers' dollars, and especially in the recession, it was very difficult to try and scrape pennies together to do infrastructure projects. And so we were very tactical in those projects that we could package together and really get the biggest bang for our buck. And this non-motorized trail, this extension of the Lansing River Trail, is an example of being good stewards of the taxpayers' money and building this trail.
Kevin, if you would tell a little bit about how the group got formed and the purpose of the Friends of the Lansing River Trail.
Yeah, sure. Really the trail started, the Friends of the River Trail started in the spring of 2013. It was an idea in my head, but I really didn't know how to get there. I ride my bike a lot on the river trail, I run on the river trail, and after years of doing this, I was like, who can I thank for the river trail? Because it's so great, and I just love having access to it. I work in Delhi, I live in Watertown, it gets me in between there. And so literally I wrote a letter to Mayor Bernero and just said, hey, I don't know who to address this to, but would you pass on my gratitude? This is not a letter of criticism, this is more a letter of just thank you, which is probably shocking for any mayor to get, right? So he got my letter, and he was kind of moved, I think, that I would just say thank you. We had a discussion. You were in one of those early meetings. We contacted some folks from Playmakers, and the next thing you know, he asked if we would form it. I have the pleasure of writing a running article in the Lansing State Journal, so I wrote about it in one of my running articles and asked for people, if you're interested in helping form this group, write me. Well, we got over 200 people to write us, which is very unusual. And so this past summer in July, we had our kickoff celebration and started the group, and we have about 100 members now. People give money, and really our mission is to raise awareness and promote a safe, clean, and thoughtfully expanded river trail. And so what we're trying to do now is just let people know that it's out here, and if you're interested in helping keep it safe and clean and see it expand properly, join our board, become a member. You get a little sticker on your car, and it's just really a neat way for people to affiliate, people from all over the area to affiliate with the river trail.
Now, is the group a 501c3?
It is. It's a good question. People wonder, is it a nonprofit? It's absolutely a nonprofit. If you make a donation of any type, it'll not be tax deductible, and we have a certain set of rules that we have to operate now by, because once you become recognized by the federal government as a 501c3, you have to have bylaws. Those are on our website. You have to have a board. Obviously, I'm president of the board. We have liaisons and folks like yourself from the city who help us. And so we're really kind of by the book organization. People that are want to know more about us can always find us by just going to lansingrivertrail.org, and almost all of this information is on there as well.
As far as how the group is formed or how the board is formed, is it politically appointed, or how did you become president?
By default. It's not politically appointed. In fact, we go out of our way to say that we're not affiliated with any political party, with any municipality. It is truly a grassroots organization of people who love the river trail. And so when these 200 people wrote me these emails, I had a chance to kind of sift through there, and a lot of them were saying things like, "Hey, I'm an attorney. Hey, I'm in marketing. Hey, I'm a graphic designer. Hey, I do this, I do that." And it was kind of like stone soup. We kind of got all these people in a room together, and pretty soon, you know, a graphic artist developed the logo. We had an attorney, said, "Hey, I'll draft the bylaws." So it was about as innocent and pure of a grassroots organization formation as you could be a part of. And so it doesn't matter what side of the political spectrum you're on, or who you vote for or who you don't vote for. Just if you love the river trail, that's what we're about.
Now, I know you mentioned that you write a running article. Is the group for runners? Is it for bikers? Who's the group for?
It's a great question too. A lot of the folks that were initially attracted, I think, were runners and bikers. But since then, I know a couple of our board members are avid walkers. And again, they come from all over the area. So it really is, if you find yourself pounding the pavement on the river trail, this group is for you. And some people, it's interesting, some people are concerned about safety. So we're trying to figure out how we can do a better job for safety. Some people say something as simple as, "I want there to be a bathroom on the trail." Or some people say, "I just want there to be even more trails." So it's a diverse group of people, which can make it difficult, but I think our leadership team is really steady and balanced, and it's well connected in the business community. And so our goal is to try and just advance these requests a little by little every year.
And so as far as the future, obviously you're started now, you're formed, you have the bylaws, people know about you. What are some of the next steps that the board is looking for, or some directions that you think the Friends of the Lansing River Trail are going to be taking?
Okay, I think that probably now that we've had our initial fundraiser and we did raise some money, our group will be looking to us to say, okay, what are you going to do now? And so the first thing that we've identified is better signage. For example, we're standing here at McGuire Park. A lot of people know that McGuire Park is sort of a termination point, or was a termination point for the City of Lansing Trail, but now we know we can go on and continue this way, and we know if we go that way we can end up in Delhi Township. Yeah. We want to have a really nice sign right here that says basically, here's your Lansing River Trail system, or the River Trail system, and not be provincial about it. It'll include Delhi, it'll include City of Lansing, and we'd like that to be sponsored by the Friends of the River Trail. That's something that our constituents have asked for, and that's something that we can use our money for to create this and to put it right here at McGuire Park.
And now you mentioned money. Are you a dues-paying group, or how do people, if they want to get signed up or be a friend of the River Trail, how do they do that?
Well, we wanted to cast a wide net, first of all, so we made a very affordable affiliate membership at $20. If you can give $20 to the organization, you're in our group for life, you'll get our emails, you can follow us, we'll give you a little sticker to put on your window. There's people that say, well, I want to be more involved, and so for $50 annual donation, you become a voting member. And so every year we'll have an annual meeting, probably in the summertime in July, and at that meeting we'll elect new officers and new leadership, or re-elect officers and leadership. And then so people can give anywhere from $50 to $1,000. There's various giving levels. And so currently, you know, we've raised about $5,000 or $6,000, and that's a start towards our sign project.
Excellent. So one of the things that we've seen is, because of the diversity in the amount of people that use the trail, whether it's people that are walking or biking or rollerblading or running or working with their dogs or whatever, we have that, I think, in the Friends of the Lansing River Trail as well. And I look forward to the partnership that we'll continue to have. If you're interested in being a part of the Friends of the Lansing River Trail, and I know there's been people that have talked about volunteer projects, I think that's something that we'll look forward to in the future. But on behalf of the Parks and Recreation Department and the Mayor, I'd just like to thank you for all of your help and assistance that you've given us.
It's been fun. Thanks a lot, Brett.
Appreciate it. So we just passed here Gardner Middle School, and that's one of the things too that we haven't talked about this trail being is safe routes to school for people.
Well, I think that's a great point. Is, you know, a lot of people don't think of taking you know, the river trail to school, and you know, with Gardner Middle School here in the background, you know, where I was at the first day of school this year, really is another way to think about the river trail, and we're very excited about it. Here's the access point,
Entrance point in,
that you know, will be completed here very soon.
Right, right. So yeah, it's definitely a connecting point for these neighborhoods here for kids to get to school pretty quickly as well. And you know, the schools are used for more than just going to school, as far as we were just talking about Mid-Michigan youth football, playing games out there, and folks being able to go to their games via bike or walking there also provides that.
Yeah, I mean, when I played football when I was in middle school, and you know, we rode our bikes to practice, which was a ways away.
Yeah.
And with this, you know, it'll make for a lot easier and safer trip.
A lot easier route. So what was the total project cost for the almost 6 miles of trail?
It was just over $2 million if you include the design cost and the construction cost. So, you know, for a little over, you know, $500,000, you know, we got over $2 million worth of infrastructure to serve, you know, the citizens, our customers, for many, many years to come. So that's one of the real things we're excited about. Is we're charged with being keepers of you know, the infrastructure, keepers of the parks and rec system, and you know, we want to be able to kind of leave our mark, and we're really proud to be able to package this project up, work with you and your staff in building it. So it's exciting to finally see it here.
Yeah.
We've been working on this project really for 2 years now, just as far as actively with construction, and then to see the vision of this project come to fruition, which, as we talk, were, you know, decades long. Well, Brett, we're riding on the most recent pathway that was installed. You see that the shoulders aren't really brought up to grade yet. So this is literally brand spanking new, and we're getting closer to the west end of the trailhead, which will eventually link up to Waverly Road and connect it to other non-motorized transportation networks like bike lanes. You know, we talk a lot about the river trail system, but the City of Lansing has done a great job of continuing to expand our bike lanes. For example, we have them on Pleasant Grove, we have them over on Kalamazoo, and links them all the way over to Michigan State University. So every time that we look at the reconstruction of a street, we look at it from that complete streets perspective, and looking at how we can install other amenities that will allow that particular road to serve every one of its users.
And we've seen that with folks coming in to the center, the community centers, or coming to see us for say City Hall on the Road, is they're trying to connect to this trail. How can I get there? Is it going by my house? How close is it coming to my house? Where can I park to get on it? Those are things that folks are trying to now, with this system, attach themselves up to.
Absolutely. I think people are really getting excited about it. And you know, looking behind us, it's a great shot of you know, riding through, you know, the new part of Lansing that this trail goes through, and this brand new trail. It's very exciting.
I think it's a great use of space, you know, and that's the other thing that we haven't talked about, is here you have this easement for power that we must have, and to be able to put a trail down it is a great use of space.
Absolutely.
That would have otherwise taken us, it really would have been impossible to get it down anywhere else, or it would have run along a road, let's say. And this gives us that opportunity. So it's an excellent use of space, and as you said, the partnership between us and getting that easement from Consumers Energy was awesome. As far as maintenance of this, are we going to need to mow? Are we going to be plowing this in the winter? What kind of maintenance are we going to see on this part of the trail?
The non-motorized network of the city, the River Trail, is a trail that we will be clearing throughout the entire winter. It will not be our first priority with regards to roads and perhaps sidewalks near schools and whatnot that we're responsible for. But we recognize the fact that this is a trail that people will want to use and need to use year-round. So one of the other benefits of this is it will be a trail that will be cleared throughout the winter. As far as the other parts of the trail, Consumers Energy does maintain the overall easement. If you look behind us, it's a fairly wide swath of land. We will also on occasion mow directly adjacent to the trail with a small mower to keep the grass down a bit. But all in all, the grass is allowed, just like it is right now, to be cut down and well maintained for people. We're also going to be having, that you've seen at the crossings, other kind of landscape treatments that are low maintenance, but also will be a way for traffic as they're approaching these major crossings to be another way that they'll be able to see that something is different when they approach it.
Yeah.
The signals are one thing, but also to cyclists, if you're coming up real quick, like, it's an area to say, hey, you need to be slowing down and paying attention because you're coming up to an area that's very unsafe.
So yeah, if you see some rocks or boulders or something that navigates that, it could be some sort of landscape as well, just kind of identifying that, hey, you have a crossing coming up.
Exactly. One of the things we want to do is alert not only the motorized vehicles with the signal, but also we want to alert the people on the trail that a major crossing is coming. Sometimes we do that with the signs that you've seen in the background, with the crossing signs typical that you would see on a street. Other ways that we do that is just like you said, with boulders or landscaping to tell people that something is up ahead that they need to pay attention to.
So we're here at MLK now, another major road in the city of Lansing, and we're about to go across here. But it's just amazing coming across and being able to cut across these north-south roads and to be able to go right through and keep heading west as we're doing.
Well, I've been shocked at how quickly we've been able to make it across the entire city. Really
quicker than by car. I mean,
Absolutely.
you can. There's for sure you can cut across here quicker than you would by vehicle.
Well, it's nice because you only have to navigate, to just a couple of signals,
Right.
To cross the entire city. So, it's going to be great for people to do that when we get the signals operational, which should be in a couple of weeks.
Excellent. So one of the things that we continue to see is more and more dogs out on the trail and in the parks. We welcome dogs in all 114 of our parks and along our river trail. A couple of things that we do ask. Number one, that they stay on a 6-foot leash or less. So none of the long leashes or even leaving your dog off leash. If you do want to take your dog off leash, we have availability for that at Solden Dog Park. But when you're in the parks and on the trails, we would like your dog on a 6-foot leash. The other thing is to always remember to bring a dog baggie in case of waste or any problem with that. We do have some of the mutt stations, mutt mitts, in some of our parks, but we definitely want to make sure that folks are disposing of animal and pet waste properly. It is something, especially when we're talking about being so close to our water source and the river trail, that we want folks taking care of that and putting it in the appropriate receptacles.
Well, as we come over to the west, where hardly any homes are in some of these back areas. We saw when we were crossing part of the trail was being graded back there. You saw lots of animal tracks, deer tracks.
Yeah.
When I'm mountain biking in over in Birchfield or other forest, you see a lot of tracks, and people don't realize that we have a lot of game here right in the city of Lansing.
There is, and usually it's kind of concentrated around the area of Crego, Mount Hope, Evergreen, Potted Park Zoo, but all the way down the trail, and especially in this southwestern corner, there's definitely some deer in the area of like McKinch Park and just around MLK, between MLK and Wise Road.
We were able to have a sign that was donated by Consumers Energy that really talks a little bit about that. They had, you know, turkey tracks, deer tracks, raccoon tracks, and really.
I thought they even had house cat on there.
I think they did, yeah.
So you could identify the house cat.
You never know what you're going to run into on the river trail. You know, there's lots of shading that we did along the trail, whether that would be some shrubs here or there, or even changing the alignment when we had you know, multiple neighborhood meetings. That's something we really haven't talked about, is when we you know, when we set this trail up, we had multiple different meetings just to address those types of concerns that people may have had with the river trail system. It's something different, and we want to make sure that, you know, when we install a trail like this, that, you know, we do take time to discuss that with people. If they did have a problem, some people just didn't like where the trail was coming out on their next to their neighborhood. You know, when we connect to neighborhoods, we have lots of spurs that come off this. And one neighbor brought up, well, I just don't like the way that connects, and so it didn't cost us any extra money really. We just kind of changed the tie-in to there, and it, you know, it really made a difference to them. So, you know, Andy Kilpatrick and Mitch Whistler and Jennifer Volk, who was the inspector on this, you know, really did a tremendous job of working within the context of where the river trail was. And those types of small changes that really address the needs of the neighborhood, even the needs of a property owner.
And I think that's something that we want to emphasize, is we always have opportunities for residents and people to get involved. We're going through our 5-year recreation plan right now, giving input on plenty of things. It could be the river trail, it could be access to the river itself, it could be any one of our community centers or programs there, or our park system. We want the public to be involved. We're here to serve them, and people have the opportunity to give input, and those forums are that.
Well, I think, you know, the difference that we've seen in other parts of the river trail is what we're hearing right now. Is, you know, now we've really come off there, we're reaching almost the western edge of that before we get to Waverly, which is an area that is really quiet, very peaceful walk, and just kind of a different feel. If you look behind us, yes, you see the power lines, but you also see lots of prairie land, lots of forest.
We made a little turn here now.
We did.
There's no doubt. There's a little jog in it. So off to Davis Park.
Well, how many parks does the South Lansing River Trail Extension connect?
You know, I haven't gotten that number, but we just went by McKinch. We went by K North. Obviously, McGuire. We'll be coming through Davis. It's very close to our Southside Community Center, which is also the precinct now, police precinct. So there is a large number, but I'm gonna definitely be checking that out. But those for sure, I know it's connected to.
And you see in the back side of us here in the background, those small little neighborhood connectors that we have off the river trail. Is that we have another one coming up here that just links up in a small way those neighborhoods. So, you know, there's really tens of thousands of people that are connected to this just by a small little connector over here to a street, and really linking it out to this trail. So, you know, when we designed it, we tried to pick up a lot of the neighborhoods like that so they could access the river trail.
And again, I think it's awesome about the sight lines that we have, and visually how far you're able to see. So again, those folks that are looking to open up a little bit more on their bikes, maybe take a little bit more of an aggressive ride, I'll call it, not the leisurely pace, this part of the path is for you. The northern portion, where we have a lot of the twists and turns, can really become a issue if you have people with a stroller ahead of you or somebody coming around a tight curve. It can definitely become a problem. So we are here at Davis Park, Benjamin Davis Park, and the South Lansing extension connected here with we had a little bit over a half mile of circular loop within the park. We just added the classic dome that you see behind us and the Supernova earlier this year. Another chance for you to come through and take a break with the kids, get on either the play structure here, or we have another play structure over by our basketball hoops. This park is used for our youth baseball and softball program, also our adult softball program, and our soccer program as well. I mentioned the basketball courts and the playgrounds, and then we also have the circular walking path within the park here. So this was one of the things when we talk about placemaking, we wanted to connect this park to the trail. So we were able to, it's right along the consumer's right of way, and so we made a turn here, if you will, within the park, connected it to the park, and then it comes out just on the other side.
Well, Brett, I want to thank you for taking us on this tour. It's been awesome to get some exercise here on November 3rd. Thank God for the beautiful day today to take this ride. And really looking forward to a lot of the other regional discussions that are happening. You know, we've been contacted by DeWitt. We know that, we want to connect this river trail up to, the City of Mason's trail. So I think really the sky's the limit with regards to where kind of the Metro Lansing River Trail network is going.
Yeah, and I think we've seen it. It's vastly popular. I mean, when this trail began back in 1975 and people had a vision for what a river trail would be, and now to where we are today with over 16 miles of trail, and we see people out here, and it's a 365-day-a-year open facility, and it is an award-winning trail, and we're very proud of it, and we're proud of the new extension, and we look forward to those things that you were talking about, is connecting to the north or connecting to communities in the south, and really branching that out and bringing all folks together, not only for recreation, for transportation, for fitness, just so many things that it can bring out in a trail system.
Well, Brett, thanks again, and I'm looking forward to the ride back east.
The quick ride home.
All right, I'll race you.